It just gets worse for Supergirl. We're just days away now from the general release of this film, and you are going to be hearing a lot more about this, whether you like the movie or not, whether you're interested in seeing it or not. And I, for one, am looking forward to seeing how things shape up for this movie, because it has definitely divided people. And I'll say it again, from the trailers, nothing about this film looks anything like how I would envisage a Supergirl movie to look like. I don't like the marketing. I don't like the casting choice that they made for the main character. And I don't like the direction they've taken. This cynical, apathetic, dark, alcoholic Kara Supergirl, the Mad Max Guardians of the Galaxy vibe and aesthetic. It's just not working for me. But critics are divided, like I say. And of course, that happens at this early stage because you'll have some critics who are little more than industry shills. And then you have the ones who are a bit more honest. So the fact that reviews are mixed at this point, I think that says a lot. I think that speaks volumes. The opinions that I value are the likes of people like Alan and Chris over at Film Threat. They recently gave their out-of-theatre reaction, and they pulled no punches as to how bad this movie is. I will leave their video linked below for you to check out. I wanted to take a look at this article now from World of Real. It says, Supergirl tracking continues to slide, now at $40 million opening, mixed early reactions. So like I say, the outlook for this film is just getting worse. It says Supergirl tracking, which was in the $50 million range last week, has now further plummeted to $40 million. Just a few weeks ago, decent pre-sales for the film had hinted that $55 to $60 million was a possibility. Not anymore. Wow, well, again, it's hard to say, but there's not much buzz online for this film, really. Certainly not much enthusiasm, not much positive buzz at this stage, which I think is an early indication of where this is going to go. An early indication, certainly, of where the box office is going to end up for its opening domestic weekend. I think the film will tank at the box office. I think it's going to tank. But I would still say it'll probably do better than the Marvels, mind you. It says, among the comic book movies released this decade, Supergirl is projected to now have a lower opening weekend than the Marvels' $46 million. Well, again, I think it'll do better, but I'm not really sure why I think that. It's, call it a hunch, I suppose. And land in the same range as Morbius, $39 million, and Joker, Folie à Deux, $37 million. It says, more bad news, social media reactions are very mixed, which spells trouble for reviews. The embargo lifts on Wednesday. This is especially concerning considering the amount of overpraising that usually comes with first reactions, not with Supergirl. Yeah, it's been a bit muted. Usually some early access influencers will be very fulsome in their praise. And yeah, there's a bit of that out there. There is some of that. But there's also a lot of middle-of-the-road reactions and reviews, and that's very telling. Of course, the ultimate barometer is the reviews of general audiences, which we will have by this weekend. So that's going to tell us everything. That's going to tell us everything because the film is out for general release this Friday. For a film with a $175 million budget, I think it needs to make in excess of $80 million domestically on its first weekend at the box office. That would just be my take. But even the most optimistic estimates put it at about $50 million on its opening domestic weekend. Everything about that, I think, spells disaster at the box office. But how can we really be surprised? Who thought it was a good idea to have bitter, moody, broody, anti-hero, melancholic Supergirl as the main star? I mean, that was never going to be a big draw at the cinema. And people have made comparisons to something like Hancock, a reluctant superhero. That character, of course, was played by Will Smith. That was the point of that movie, though. That he had a redemption arc, that he would change. And people like a redemption story, but that's not the story we have here with Supergirl. She has a different arc for this film, and I find that in recent years, across lots of franchises, there's all this quippy, ironic dialogue where nothing can be taken seriously, and there's no earnestness anymore. And it does feel like the writers, I just can't take the material seriously. And so everything has to be undercut. All the serious moments and aspects of the story and the characters have to be undercut with jokes. That's become the MCU model, of course. That's become the Marvel model, which we've talked about a lot in previous videos. And I suppose that brings us inevitably to something like Supergirl. And she looks bored. She's got a massive chip on her shoulders as well. Basically, she thinks her cousin Superman is naive because he sees the good in everyone and she sees the truth, so she says. So she's hungover, she's got messy hair with this disinterested, sullen attitude. I mean, nothing about this body language makes me think, wow, an inspiring, cool-looking superhero. I gotta see this. Please, Hollywood, enough with the endless attempts at subverting expectations or making an unconventional superhero film. If anything, I think at this stage, we need to get back to basics and start telling conventional stories with broad universal appeal. I think we need to get back to traditional storytelling. I think people are starved of those kinds of stories, especially given the times we live in where wholesome, sincere characters and stories seem to be in short supply. So, in conclusion, I will say that part of me is genuinely looking forward to seeing just how awful this film will be. In a kind of morbid curiosity kind of way. I think the DCU was a mistake. Warner seems to have bet the farm on James Gunn's vision for this new universe, for this new interpretation of DC on film. And I think the whole reboot was unnecessary. The DCEU had problems. I think the DCEU went off the rails when they tried to transform it into something that was more like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, trying to make it more colorful and comedic with films like The Flash and Blue Beetle and films like Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom and stuff like that. And it could have been salvaged with some changes. I think very soon some people are going to be nostalgic for that era of DC on film. Because this DCU is, it's not off to a good start, and I don't think it's really going anywhere. I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell to be notified of future updates. Share the video out there. Hit that like button. Take care, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.